That was something else I was going to ask. Is I assume there's, if not even just a network, but some skills and attributes you would have brought from working on Gladiators into your life afterwards and being able to sort of use them to your benefit.
I threaten my children mostly. No, no. um, because years ago, my kids were tiny as well on YouTube. The only YouTube clip of me on Gladiators was me on Hang Tough, where there was a girl who was a British tug of war champion. So she's really tall, really strong, and she couldn't do the swing like as we talked about earlier. She couldn't swing on it, but she could just hold on for like ever. So there's a video of me literally like pulling on her, pulling her hands, and then eventually that was the only person I didn't get off on Hang Tough, I think. Dropped onto the mat, so I don't want her landing on me. She fell down and then just lay there, and she'd cracked 2 vertebrae in her back because obviously the way me pulling, and then as she landed, just a bit smart there, just so cracked 2 vertebrae in her back. That was the only clip my kids saw of me doing Gladiators.
Just almost paralysing someone just from yanking at their hip.
That's my kids used to go, "That's my mum." I'm like, "No, don't show people that, because I didn't mean to do it. She should let go, for goodness sake." Yeah, I know. So luckily there's a lot more variety of clips now. But
was she all right?
She was fine. She recovered well enough to then madly she got, because obviously she was out the show then, understandably. They invited her to come back and compete when we went to South Africa.
Oh wow!
But she came out there. All her family came. Pauline, and she's a lovely girl. I was like, "You're mad." I don't remember the game Atmospheres, so the big balls that we used to roll around hamsters. In our show, we had smoke that just went off on the pods. So if you went over, like a pirate, not pirate, but like dry ice sort of smoke. Out in South Africa, they had pyro fire.
Lovely.
No health and safety, let's put it that way. So we had to wear, if you did that game, you had to wear these like flame retardant sort of lycra suits.
Oh, no.
So Pauline did that. Very strong, very good. And it was basically like knocking Skittles over. It was very different setup. And she did that, fell over, someone went, fire. They pressed the button. She was on the bottom. And even through the leggings or whatever we were wearing, she got like a huge, like 2nd-degree burn on the back of her leg.
I assume this girl did not come back to Gladiators after that.
But her whole family had come out to South Africa to watch her and everything, and I just like.
Some people are just built different. This game isn't for you. Sorry.
Well, it's just really unfortunate. Bless her.
So bad.
Get herself back because she was a super amazing athlete, and very strong and physical, and it was just not meant to be.
This woman is literally a tug of war champion, and you broke her.
I didn't break her. I broke her by accident, but the second time was nothing to do with me. But yeah, I just think, I mean, for example, the very first show I think we recorded, we have an end of series party. And because I'd never really, I hadn't done it before or anything, I got to the end and all these people like coming in and crutches and wheelchairs, because it was brutal, and it wasn't necessarily us injuring them, it was just they landed awkwardly or...
Yeah. Catch a foot in the net and you'll break your ankle in no time.
On the Eliminator, which we weren't involved with, that's the driving mad. People go, "Oh, so what's your favourite game?" They go, "The Eliminator." I was like, brilliant. I'm not in that bit. Thanks. The only bit I don't do, that's your favourite bit.
It's your favourite bit.
Thanks. Yeah.
But that was a very exciting part of it, though. The Eliminator was insane.
Yeah. I mean, that was literally the nail biter finish, because even if someone was like way ahead on points, it could still change.
That would make or break the family that night. So it would have depended on who you're sort of cheering on that night.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and my husband did it, and he got to the quarterfinals. And then I think he did the gauntlet, and Warrior sat on him at the end, because he used to be a rugby player and a decathlete, so he was quite good at getting round them, and also being about 6 foot ish. He was bigger than most of the contenders that the boys were used to have, going against. Yeah. I think because he got near to the end, Warrior just sat on him, and then they squared up to each other a bit. Anyway.
But it all ended well. It's all ended well. But he didn't win, did he?
He got the best prize. He got me.
Oh, well, I was going to say there, was that, you might not want to talk about it, was that during the show or after the show that you would have met him first?
I met him during filming his show. But weirdly, so what happens? I remember the show originally. As they're introducing each contender on the show, they've got a little bit of footage of them at home or doing their job, or that sort of interview with each contender to know them before they are introduced into the show. More little clips that come on through their show. And there's one particular cameraman who used to go and do those. So that particular year, every year, like I said to you, I like to know stuff, like to plan out. So I was like, right, Dave, who do you think's good this year? Who do you think? And so he started describing all the contenders, girls, obviously, and then some of the boys. And he started describing what is now my husband. And I was like, oh, sounds quite. I was single at the time. I was like, that sounds quite nice. And then weirdly, we'd all go out in between. So the first sort of 2 weeks is training. We have 3 days training, and then we do camera rehearsal for a week, which is the most boring thing for us. Brilliant for all the crew and everybody else, but we don't do anything. We just have to sit in the arena for like hours on end, waiting, because we don't go up on the games. They don't like us to go up on the games. We have to look and pretend we're paying attention where a camera's going to be. But someone tells you that anyway, so we don't need to be there. Anyway, so during that period of time, it's all a bit slightly more downtime, I suppose, for us before it really kicks in with the schedule. So there's a little bar club, whatever, next to the hotel where we're staying at, so we'd all go in there, and a lot of the contenders were in there this particular night, and this person was standing up at the bar, and that was my husband. And I was like, oh, I think it's quite nice. Jenny Rebel knew him vaguely through athletics, because she was an athlete, very good Commonwealth Olympic athlete. And so she trained with him at a similar sort of time, a similar sort of age. So she said, oh, I know him. Anyway, it was like being back at school. I have talked about this before, so it's not a new story. But I had to say something, I quite like him. So she went up to him, like you were when you were like 13, 14, got a girlfriend. I was like, yeah. Do you love her? It was literally like that. Or my fantasy. It was almost as bad as that. I was just like, oh. And then it spreads like wildfire through from the director down to everybody, all the crew, every single person knew. I hadn't even spoken to him at this point. I've not even spoken to him myself at this point. Mortifying. So anytime we were sort of vague, vicinity together, they'd be like, all the others, oh, it's him, him. I'm like, yes, I know. This is really embarrassing. I don't even know what he's like. He might be awful. I quite like the look of him. And eventually we did have a conversation, and eventually we did drive out away from everybody and actually, have a coffee and just go hello as two normal people, as Susanna Mark rather than Vogue and Contender, because it was very much them and us. Very much, even Contenders, and then there's us. So I felt like I was sort of, defecting to the other side, if you like, for a bit. So we just got to know each other there. Obviously, he had a girlfriend, so that had to be dealt with. But what was really embarrassing was eventually when his show did get screened, it was about 3 months later. And obviously we were together then, he wasn't with her, but she's on the show, obviously in the audience, because that's what they, Mark's mum, Mark's girlfriend, Mark's this. And I'd only known most of his really good friends who, we're still really good friends with now for about 3 weeks or something. We're all sitting there watching the show, and I was like, it was nearly 25 years later, I think we're okay.
I would think so after that long.
23 years, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. 23 years. Maybe 24.
You're just excited for the next two to come, that's why.
Exactly.